Okay. Let's wait a few minutes and then we can start. Thank you for being here. There is a little bit of delay, so let's wait a few minutes. Okay, I think we can start this session. So thank you for all the people that are attending this webinar. It's the second episode of Nando Waste is More webinar. Today we are talking about the evolution of waste audits and how new technologies make regulatory compliance practical. I have the honor to have as guest today a friend and an incredible professional, Daryl from ISS UK. So I give the floor to Daryl for the introduction of himself, and then I will give a little bit of context.
Thank you, Fabrizio. Yes, thank you. The honor, gosh. I'll try my best, but no, thank you, Fabrizio, for the time, and thank you for Relo and Nando for giving me the opportunity to talk about waste audits and waste intelligence. My name's Daryl. Yes, been in the industry for about 16 years. 10 of those years were through the Marks and Spencer accounts, whereas 5 of those years I was the broker, helping sorting the waste management out. I got 2P'd over to Marks and Spencer, and I sat on the customer side of the table where we kind of pushed the waste management circular agenda. Thereafter 10 years at Marks and Spencer, I went through to DHL, which was a logistics partner of Marks and Spencer, and I did some work there where I was driving their business and minimizing their cost, maximizing their revenue within the industry as well. And the last few years, I've been supporting developing smaller companies and driving their revenue in sustainability. And then I've moved over to ISS. So I've been with ISS for the last 12 months. It's been a great start with ISS because they are very much on the forefront of sustainability and circular. With regards to baseline audits, this is just a stepping stone into approving and being able to give a solution to the vast amounts of customers that we have who want to drive that agenda. So Fabrizio, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Daryl. So to give to the audience a little bit of context, today we're talking about waste audits because based on our experience as Nando and think as ISS, waste audit is no longer an optional. It's important waste audit for several reasons. demonstrate compliance with international regulations, support ESG reporting and internal governance, and also provide suggestions to improve the waste segregation and meet the sustainability targets. Um, Today, we're talking about the evolution of waste audits. So it's important to understand what are the challenges of the facility management companies like ISS, how a waste audit can improve, and what are the benefits of for a company that receives a waste audit from a facility management. So I give the floor to Daryl. Daryl, you can share the screen and you can, you can talk about your experience with the waste audit and go deep.
Thank you, Fabrizio. Can you see this?
Just 1 second. Yes, we see your screen.
You can see my screen. Fantastic. Right. First slides. Why waste audits now matter more than ever. In the past, waste audits were seen as good practice. There was something organization chose to do, so more so like a nice to have, a proactive sustainability initiative. Today, they are far more significant. In many cases, they are becoming essential to drive the business forward. There are 4 key drivers behind this shift: regularity pressure. Regulations around waste handling, segregation, and reporting are becoming stricter. Organizations are now expected to demonstrate compliance, not simply assume it's been done or it meets the requirement. They must be able to show evidence that the waste streams are being managed correctly, and without reliable data, that proof doesn't exist. Point 2, ESG and corporate reporting. From an ESG perspective, waste data plays a critical role. It directly impacts carbon reporting, particularly scope 3 emissions, where the waste treatment and disposal sits. If waste data is inaccurate, sustainability reporting becomes unreliable, and that creates reputational or compliance or even financial risks. Inaccurate waste reporting can undermine broader environmental commitments. Cost and risk exposure. Waste is no longer a minor operational expense. Disposal fees continue to rise. Contamination charges are becoming more frequent. Missed recycling opportunities translate directly into higher costs for the customers. So, without clear data, organizations cannot effectively control or forecast these expenses. Governance and accountability, point 4. From a governance standpoint, leadership teams need visibility. They need to know, are contractors performing as expected? Are waste streams compliant with legislation, including evolving requirements such as simpler recycling, which came into play last year, 31st of March, 2025 in England? Is the organization exposed to regularity or financial risks? Without transparent data, these questions cannot be answered confidently. And this is where the fundamental shift begins. Waste audits now sit at the intersection of compliance, cost control, reporting, as well as governance. They are no longer just operational exercises carried out by the facilities team. These are strategic tools for managing risk, protecting the reputation, and enabling informed decision-making. Limits of traditional waste audits. Traditional waste audits absolutely have value. They have been the foundation of waste reporting for many years, but they come with important limitations. First, they have highly labor intensive. They require manual sorting, PPE, trained staff, and controlled space to conduct the audits properly. That means time, cost, and operational effort. Secondly, because of the effort, audits are typically done annually or at best a few times a year. So what we get is a periodic visibility, not continuous oversight. Third, there is an issue of data lag. Manual recording, spreadsheets consolidation, and post-analysis slow down reporting cycles. By the time insights are ready, the operational movement may have already passed. Fourth, scaling becomes challenging. What works for one building becomes resource heavy across a portfolio of 20 or 50 or even 100 sites. That model doesn't scale efficiently. And finally, there's the operational disruption. Audits require coordination on the site, dedicated space within the site, and interruption to normal workflows. So the real question then becomes, if waste visibility is now mandatory and a continuous oversight is increasingly expected, can traditional audit models alone meet the modern governance and reporting standards? I personally believe they can, but that's where the digital monitoring begins to fundamentally change the conversation, change the way the audits are done. Let's stay with the traditional audit model and walk through what it actually looks like in practice. First, we collect representative waste bags from agreed areas across the site. The key word here is representative. We're aiming for a realistic snapshot, not a one-off anomaly. Next, we manually sort the waste into defined categories. Typically, that includes general waste, dry mix recycling, cardboard, plastic, food, paper, glass, contamination, and non-compliance, etc. But also note, categories can vary depending on the site and what they generate. Once sorted, each material stream is weighed individually. That data is then recorded and analyzed, usually within spreadsheets, to determine composition, contamination levels, recycling rates, as well as improvement opportunities. A few practical tips to make traditional audits more effective. Use constant categories every time. Changing the categories make the trend analysis difficult to follow. Photograph the sorted materials. Visual evidence strengthens reporting and stakeholder engagement. Sample representative days. Avoid going to the sites on periods like holidays or events or unusual operational peaks. And the key takeaway here is simple. Consistency matters more than complexity. A straightforward, repeatable audit process will generate more meaningful trend data than an overly complicated one that changes every time. Planning before action. Before any physical audit takes place, planning is critical. A well-structured audit starts long before we begin sorting of the waste. There are several key steps in planning the phase. First, agree the scope with the customer. What exactly are we auditing and what are we not? Second, confirm the locations. Which buildings, floors, or waste collection points are included within the scope? Define the waste types to be audited. Are we focusing on general waste, recycling streams, organics, or all? Or are we focusing on hazardous waste as well? Understand what we are doing. Agree the time period. Are we sampling a single day, a full week, or multiple representative days? And finally, determine the reporting method. How will we be presenting these findings? What format will the recommendations take? Who is the audience? Now, points 2, 3, and 4 are typically confirmed during a site walk before the physical audit begins. That walk around provides context and ensures that what's planned matches operation reality. So, for instance, the infrastructure review 0.2, during that walk, we will assess bin types, bin locations and placements, capacity, signage, clarity and consistency, waste storage areas and access. This helps identify practical barriers to compliance before we even look at the data. Performance review 0.3. We also review historic performance. What has the past data shown? Are there recurring contamination issues? Do certain material streams spike at particular times? What do the current targets look like? And are they realistic? This allows the auditor to validate the trends rather than operate in isolation. Staff engagement, 0.4. Equally important is people engagement. We connect with the waste handlers to ensure they fully understand the site policies and operational expectations. We also speak with the employees to gauge awareness. What do they know? And where are the gaps? Clear communication is essential. Explain the purpose of the audit so it is seen as an improvement tool, not as a fault-finding exercise. All of this feeds directly into the final report, as well as the recommendation. Because when planning is thorough, opportunities become clearer. Once the audit is complete, the real purpose becomes clearer. It's about demonstrating the outcomes and the value. So what are we actually looking for in the results? First, material streams. What is being generated in the highest volume? Are they dominant waste streams, what we expected? Second, contamination levels. Are recyclables or organic streams being compromised? Where is the non-compliance occurring? Hotspots. Are there particular locations, departments, or floors driving poor performance? Behavior patterns. Do the results suggest confusion, convenience issue, or constant misuse of certain bins? This diagnostic stage is critical. It turns raw data into insight. From there, we shift the conversation to action. What opportunities have we identified? What barriers are preventing better performance or extreme costs? And what practical, targeted recommendations can address them? Because the audit itself isn't the end goal, the report isn't the outcome, the audit is only valuable if it leads to action. The next slide is the waste baseline audit and progressive pathway that ISS have proposed to our customers as an engagement tool. And on this, you can see it gives you a very high level overview of what the circularity journey we can take customers on, the benefits it can produce. So from cost savings, regularity compliance, risk mitigation, and so forth. Also on there, it outlines why and how we deliver it with other product offerings, because once the audit outlines a recommendation, 9 times out of 10, those recommendations will have the next stage of improving the customer's journey. Fabrizio, that's me. Hopefully that was okay.
Yes, Daryl, it was super clear. So I give the opportunity to the audience to ask some question to Daryl. So please type exactly as you. Oh, yes, we are going to share with you the deck shared by Daryl. Exactly. So please type all the questions, and after my speech, we're going to answer. Then it's time to talk about the evolution of waste audit. Sorry, before I didn't introduce myself because I hope that everyone knows me, but it's not 100%. I'm not 100% sure. I am the co-founder and growth manager at Nando. So I support Nando in the growth, and I support the scale in all the regions, especially partnering with facility management companies. During my pitch, I will talk about the problems of waste audit and what are the next steps. As Daryl said, there are several steps to conduct a waste audit. The problem is that steps means errors. The actual waste audit process is something like that. So it's a it's an labor-intensive activity. You have to take out the bags and then do a manual and the visual checking plus another recording. Despite the importance, there are several issues in the waste audit. High cost, because the people involved in a waste audit should weigh each bag and also check the measurement manually. Low level of accuracy, because you don't monitor all the bins, but just few sample. And then it's an annual measurement. So as Daryl said, it's a baseline, but it's difficult to track the performances. How Nando is supporting ISS and companies to evolve the waste audit. Nando developed a plug and play tool that is able to improve the way in which waste audit are performed. The goal is to guarantee a cost saving and also improve the segregation qualities thanks to our data. Nando operates worldwide in Europe, UK, North America, and Asia as well. The solution we are proposing is Nando App. Nando App is a digital measurement. So instead of using a scale, you have only to take a picture. With a picture, we collect all the information about weight, segregation quality, bins filling level, and object counting. How Nando works. We use artificial intelligence and computer vision. So with the first picture, we collect information about segregation quality, thanks to of course, according to your differentiation rules. Then we assign a weight according to our database to each single object. And then we compare the volume of the waste with the volume of the bin to understand what is the filling level and to do another calculation to calculate the weight according to the ISO 9001 certification. All the data are visible in one single tool. So no more data sharing, no more spreadsheet, but only one tool to download the data and be compliant with all the regulations. The first question is how Nando can achieve 95-98% of accuracy on average. Nando is a digital measurement that uses AI. So we use historical data to do forecast. Instead of do a manual weighing, you have to take one picture, and then we use all the data collected over the period to an estimation about what is behind the first layer. We achieve 95-98% accuracy on average, but we achieved also 99-98% of accuracy with some clients. I cannot say who they are. There is an important disclaimer. A manual scale cannot achieve 100% of accuracy. So some people raise point about the accuracy of a mechanical scale compared to Nando App. So first of all, a mechanical scale has a tolerance around 3%. Then a mechanical scale should be calibrated early, otherwise it loses 9% of accuracy yearly. And then there are a lot of human errors to take into account. Nando App, you have to take into account the tolerance, 5%, but then we do a calibration remotely, certified ISO 9001, plus we don't have any human error. So it is more accurate than a mechanical scale. With Nando App, there are two options to do a waste audit. There is the annual snapshot, so the baseline audit. How it works. The process is the same at the beginning. So you have to remove the bag. Then you have to open the bag as you do usually, and then you have to take the picture. With one picture, we collect all the information about weight, contaminants that you can see in one single dashboard and export the data. Really simple. So you should not involve a lot of people. Then there is the daily monitoring. In this case, the goal is to provide a daily waste audit instead of a baseline waste audit. The concept is the same conceptually, but the scope is a continuous performance tracking. So there are two options. The annual snapshot, that means annual measurement, cost reduction to perform the waste audit, and automatic data reporting. With the daily monitoring, the goal is to improve the performances. So it's a daily monitoring. The cost, it's quite low because it's one picture before you change the bag, so 2 seconds, plus the automatic reporting, plus the strategy to improve your performances. So this is a comparison between an annual waste audit, a mechanical scale, and Nando App. I talk about the accuracy. Nando app is a scalable solution, so you can have data with the huge granularity for each single bin. The time spent per bin is really low, just 2 seconds. Human error is around zero. You don't shouldn't rely on estimations because we collect data every single day instead of an annual snapshot on few bins. So I stop here because also I'm seeing that there are a lot of questions, and maybe thank you for all the questions actually. So let's start from the beginning. So about Yuan, I will share with you the deck of ISS after the webinar. Then there is a question from Francesca. How can a company ensure data privacy and security when implementing digital waste monitoring tool across their facility? Okay, so I think this is a question for Nando. Data privacy means, so basically we collect with a digital waste monitoring like Nando app, we collect information only about waste. The data are visible in a dashboard, and only the client and Nando, of course, team have the access to the dashboard. All the data are stored in AWS Frankfurt, and then we can give you access to the dashboard per level. So in function of the seniority, of course. All the data are manipulated and elaborated according to the ISO 9001 certification. So this and international certification protects us and the client about data security and compliances. Francesca, I hope that answered your question. Otherwise, you can type another one. Then there is another question from Johan for Daryl. Can you share about how you implement the Nando waste audit in different contexts? So I think Daryl, I give the floor to you.
Thanks, Fabrizio. So the question is, can you share about how you would implement the Nando waste audit into different contexts, office tenants and F&B tenants? Very simple to how we would actually just do the actual standard traditional waste audits. The only difference is that Fabrizio, obviously, we would then link up with Fabrizio to kind of then put the digital solution in place. However, your standard methodology will always take place. You've got to do the standard steps and the basic information and the basic scope. You've got to agree to that going forward. But from a Nando waste audit, we would need to link in with Fabrizio. So I can definitely take that away for you, Joanne, and then kind of go, right, how does that work in your kind of sector? And then kind of bring in Nando as a solution. But the bottom thing is understand the scope, understand the methodology, and then you would just kind of utilize it, whether it's digital or the normal tasks, you would then implement those tasks accordingly.
Exactly. Maybe if I may, Daryl, about to answer. So I assessed, of course, as the workforce in place, so they can do a waste audit in a standard way, or using Nando app to collect more information and about all the bins in the building, and not only few samples. But then you can use, of course, the ISS knowledge about waste segregation and zero waste strategy setup, and our know-how as well. So Nando ISS usually work together to provide not only an information about the building, but also an advisory about the zero waste strategy. Then we have another question from Joanna. Sorry, one more question. How do you implement the solution with property developers? Note that the Nando solution provides estimate weight of waste based on the picture taken from the waste audit. How do you make use of those data? Okay, so maybe I will answer, then I will give the floor to Daryl. So maybe, Daryl, you can explain about the situation when you used our data to do advisory to your client.
Yeah.
So basically, Joanna, all the data collected by Nando are visible in one single dashboard. In the dashboard, you can filter the period, the building, the station, the floor, and the single bin. You have for tabs the CO2 emissions, the total waste production, so the kilograms per single waste streams, and then you have also the segregation quality tab. In the segregation quality tab, you will see basically the trends over the period, the most common mistakes, and the object analysis. Having this information, you can improve your performances and achieve the zero waste goal. Now, then we provide all this information to the final client and to ISS, and of course, this is part of our advisory, service. Then I give the floor to David to explain how ISS uses Nando App data to support clients.
Absolutely. I'm just going to touch on, because Fabrizio, I think you've kind of hit the nail on the head on the majority of that. Data is king. Data is going to drive your decisions. So yes, you would be looking for those hotspots, those areas where maybe the segregation is not at its peak, or you're going to be looking at, well, what's contaminating that particular area? Could it be that it's close to the restaurant where the contamination levels can be a lot higher because the footfall that is coming through in and out is going to be a lot more. So therefore, we will then kind of focus our attention on those areas and go, right, is the location, is the bin set up? Do we have enough bins? Is that all in place? Is the signage, is the engagement side of things fit for purpose? And that is where the data will be able to drive us a direction in trying to improve on the situation or put recommendations. And I think, Fabrizio, just one more, I think Maria here has also just said, once we have this actionable data, what is the real world example? So I go back to what we've just said with regards to the data. The data drives the decision. And in a real world, if I take a compactor, for instance, if we have a compactor that is being exchanged 3 times a week, but the full level is low, meaning we're not utilizing, we're not maximizing that compactor of, let's say, 5 tons for every exchange, we would then implement the optimization. That is a real world insight into fully grasping the data, how the waste moves and how the current setup is in place. Because if we can minimize that compactor being exchanged from 3 down to once a week, not only does the customer save from a cost perspective, the customer saves on less vehicles being on the road, which theoretically emission savings.
Exactly. And if I may, Daryl, to answer Maria, so the cost saving depends on the geographic position of your company, of course. Because, for example, the goal of Nando is to provide data to improve the segregation quality and reduce the waste production. In some countries, you can have a cost saving thanks to the disposal cost reduction. So improving the segregation quality, you will pay less, and producing less waste, you pay less. So we provide you all the data to achieve these goals, and then you can use this information to set up your strategy and achieve the cost saving. Then we have a question from Ben. Have you compared actual waste data vs AI generated? Yes, of course. So this is a good question. Nano right now operates in more than 5 regions and 90 customers. Of course, before achieving this goal, our clients tested our solution. So we compared the data from a mechanical scale with Nando app. This information, this accuracy is certified not only by our customer, also by regulation, because these numbers are certified from the international body that certified scales, but also our data are certified by ISO 9001. So all the process from the picture collecting to data visualization on the dashboard is certified. You can test by yourself using a mechanical scale for a building with more than 30 floors. How many bags do you collect in the basement? And how many errors there are inside? Of course, these are important things. A scale needs a calibration. Nando is certified for an automatic calibration, certified by an external body, not by ourselves. So this is what protects us. I hope I answered. Then there is another question from Praven. Have you mentioned the AI taking pictures inside the bin? What happens when a food container or a crisp bag is dropped in with some food, and how to measure the weight? This is an assumption, Praven. It's a good question. So, of course, we have weight about the object empty. This is an assumption that we have. We cannot have a look inside the container, of course, but the assumption is that the container is empty. So this is how the Nando AI thinks. Then I have a question from Kerwin. The AI will only capture what is at the top. In order to have 95% record, do you need multiple pictures per day? What is recommended? Good question, Kerwin. So the AI sees on the top, but it has been trained since 6 years on tons of images. So when we start, the accuracy is around 65%. I don't want to say 100 because it's not fair for my customers, but we achieve the baseline 60% based on our database. Then more picture we collect over the period, then the accuracy grow, achieving 95, 98. Our recommendation to not alterate the actual process of the facility management company is one picture per day. With one picture per day, we can achieve this level of accuracy in less than 1 month. If you like to improve the slope of this curve, of course, you can take more picture, but even 60%, it's enough to be compliant with the regulation. And then there is the comparison with the scale. There is a question about, no, we don't have any further question, I think. So I think that we are also on time. Maybe we'll wait some seconds because there is a bit of delay. I give the floor again to Daryl because Daryl, I would like to thank you again for your time, the possibility to have access to your know-how about waste audit and waste in general. It's always a pleasure. And I give to the audience the contact of Daryl and also my contact. ISS and Nando work together. So if you have any question about waste audit, potential implementation of a daily monitoring in Nando app, you can reach me you can reach me or Daily out for any additional question.
Thank you, Fabrizio. Thank you again to everyone else. Good session. I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Daryl. I say goodbye to all the people that are online and see you in the next episode of Nando Waste is More webinar. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.